Welcome, everybody. It is the ShopNotes Podcast, episode number 256. Got the whole trio back here for, almost mid-December podcast. Logan, John, and I ready to answer your questions, respond to your comments, and deal back some smart remarks of our own. This episode of the ShopNotes Podcast is brought to you by Gorilla Glue. When you're working on a project in the shop, you put in hours of effort, and the last thing you want is for that project to come apart because the glue didn't hold. That's why you should keep a bottle of Gorilla Wood Glue on the bench. It's non-foaming, cleans up with water, and dries a natural color. Of course, there's that reliable Gorilla strength you always trust. Also look for Gorilla Wood Filler. It's the go-to product for strong, durable repairs. Gorilla is strong enough for the pro and easy enough for the beginner. Built by you, backed by Gorilla. All right, John and I had to freestyle last week.
Yeah.
And here we are with some questions and comments from folk. Puppy Doc's got a couple of them. He said, battery versus corded. I had 3 different battery platforms and hated having all those batteries and chargers taking up space. I eliminated most of my cordless tools and went back to corded for sanders and routers, connected to dust collection anyway. Drills and drivers are the only cordless tools I use anymore. I still have 1 Ryobi trim router and 2 batteries that never get used. I also have a rigid trim router and rigid drills drivers that are my go-to tools for most days. When they die off, they're being replaced with Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. Dang right they are.
Yeah, he had also said, I realized last night that I was 2 episodes behind watching and had to do a mini binge. I was going through withdrawals. Yeah, the ShopNotes podcast shakes are real. From last week, chisels. I have a set of chisels similar to John's, except that Harbor Freight should have paid me to get them out of the store.
You're not wrong there.
Having said that, I intentionally abuse them. When they need sharpening, I'm practicing on them before I destroy the good set that are still in the box. After 2 years, my sharpening still leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay, so I was not here last week, but I'm guessing a budget set of chisels came up like that, right?
I think that
might have been from a couple episodes ago when I was talking about the free Menards chisels that I had.
Oh yeah. It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Rumor has it, legend has it, that the beloved European grocery store Aldi, that is here in the States, supposedly there is an occasion where Aldi has a set of chisels there.
Yes.
And supposedly they are fantastic for the price.
I think my brother has a set of those, and he would agree with that.
Like, this is all legend. Like Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, a winning season for the Miami Dolphins, and the Aldi chisels. It's all elusive, and we don't know if it's true. But if I ever see any, I'm going to buy a set just to mess around with.
I might have to go on an Aldi quest. Check it out. It sounds interesting.
It gets you, though. It's like a Costco quest. Although at Aldi, you fill up your cart, it's $37.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, going back to my Menards chisels, sharpening them is like sharpening a pencil eraser on sandpaper.
The steel just balls up and rolls off the edge.
It's like you can take a lot off, but can you sharpen a pencil eraser? I don't know.
Does it do anything? I don't know.
Yep. It was worth the price, though. Free.
Yeah. Jean Marie McCracken says, does John have a home shop as well? Can we see his setup?
Yeah, it's part of our online education setting up shop class that we just did.
Right.
So for a price.
For a price, you can see a shop.
Yeah. It's pay-per-view.
Right. We're just trying out different models of how you want to see the 3 of our shops. So like Logan's, You get to see Logan's shop on audio spread out over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mine is on YouTube spread out over, I don't know, we're probably on 2 years.
Yeah.
And John's, we're going to do the pay-per-view model.
Yeah. You can see my old garage shop if you go back to like the 2020 podcasts. I think I did some in there. Did some,
that's right.
Some videos or stuff.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, early in our first season, we were doing those from home. And
I know that, yeah.
I think John had the sliding door shop cabinet behind him.
Yep. So.
Whereas now we've upgraded and John's got the chili cook-off trophy behind him.
There it is. It's not my trophy.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Larry Atha says, Pop Wood may have reported this, but Bosch formed an alliance in Germany called AmpShare. May or may not be related to Captain Planet. Don't know. Where the same voltage batteries work with multiple brands. Bosch, Fine, Rothenberger. I like this idea. With respect to screws, I like to use good quality screws and usually order screws consistent with the project materials list. If I'm building from a magazine project, I order from McFeely's or Bolt Depot or Kennedy Hardware usually. I will use Square/Robinson, slotted, or Phillips head. I bought a bunch of new screwdrivers from KC Tool, Heiko, and Philo with ergonomic 2-component grips, and now I just enjoy using wood screws. I like them better than my old Craftsman acetate-handled screwdrivers, or even the Grace USA wood handles, which is, I think, fighting words for some people.
I have the Philo wood handle screwdrivers. Those are my nice ones.
Yeah.
I say they're my nice ones. I always reach for those stupid tough-built ones that I bought Menards out of a year ago. But for my nice, like, shop ones, I have the wood handle Philos, and I really like them. Okay.
I hadn't heard of that brand, so...
They have, they're just like a beech wood handle. They have a leather strike cap on them for all those times you have to impact drive a screw by hand.
Right.
So
it's just hard to coordinate the turn with the hit.
Yeah.
Boy9GGZ says, can you please write a note to my wife giving me permission to buy all the straight router bits there are? Thanks. Not confident Santa got my list.
Yep. They have to be from woodpeckers, though, because they're the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I did use working on my supersized sawhorse and was routing for plywood and grabbed one of their 18 millimeter dado bits. Yeah. And it was a delight to use.
Like the dado cleanout bit?
No, just the regular straight bit, but for dados because the cutting flutes are angled as a down cut.
That's how their dado cleanout bits are too.
Oh, okay. The other thing that I like about them is that the cutting edges are short. I think it's only like 9/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
Which is lovely because I feel like a lot of plywood bits, and I probably said this before, like the cutting flutes are like 1.5 inches long, which is stupid.
Yeah, when are you ever cutting a dado or a groove for plywood that deep?
Yeah. Or that you need the cutting edge to be engaged that long, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, here is the prescription. I hereby, Phil Huber of the Woodsmith Shop TV show, authorize insert user to purchase whatever straight bits are necessary for the materials that you're working with. If you are working with plywood, then you need a fractional sized 3/4, a 23 32nd bit, and an 18 millimeter in order to do 3/4 inch material. You may scale this down for 1/2 inch material if you need to. For 1/4 inch, just pick a 1/4 inch bit. It's close enough. Signed, the cast of the ShopNotes Podcast.
We're not doctors, but together we spent long enough time in college to be one.
Right. JWT Bot Dad says, regarding corded versus battery tools, my general rule of thumb is if I'm hooking up a dust hose to it, I might as well hook up a power cord too. The other factor is how much sustained power is needed. My Ryobi circular saws are pretty wimpy, even with the HP batteries. Haven't tried an edge battery yet. So when I was looking at track saws, I wanted a corded saw. Now you have the Festool cordless track saw, right?
Yeah, and it's...
But I mean, it's also Festool, so they're going to engineer it to be beefy enough.
Exactly, yeah. And, like, listening to, Puppy Doc, and, everyone saying, if you're hooking up a dust collection, like, yeah, corded. And I'm kind of like, yeah, you know what? You're 100% right. Like, yeah. Because the problem I have is that with it being cordless, like my track saw, I just cut a couple sheets of plywood last night, working on a CNC stand. And I'm lazy. Like, I have the short little track, threw the track down. I'm like, yeah, it's battery powered. I don't need to plug it in anything. So I'm not going to roll the dust extractor over here. So I just make the cut. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if it was corded, that I'm more likely than to say, yeah, I should throw the dust extractor on it because that's my extension cord at that point, really. So, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of cordless stuff, but there's definitely some instances, like I just bought, I think I said this a couple weeks ago, I bought a couple secondhand Colts. So now I got a little stable of Colt routers, and each one has a different bit in it, and it's lovely, and I have no issues saying this. They're corded, but they're plugged in at my bench. Like, that's where I'm working, so I don't know. I do like my battery-powered stuff, but I have no problem having a tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the battery-powered Festool track saw here, and we just have the dust bag on it, and that's fine. The dust isn't obnoxious or anything. It does pretty well, so
right.
We don't hook up a hose to that.
Yeah. So. See, the problem is I didn't have my bag on because most of the time I do hook it up, but those instances where I'm just being lazy, I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jacob Schenker writes, OMG. There is a 4th episode to Phil's shop tour. You've got to be kidding me. This is exciting news about the insulation, though. Are we getting heat then as well? And yes, there is a 4th episode of my shop tour. And I explain it in the video, but I think there's really 2 reasons. One is just the symmetry of it. My workshop broke down into 4 distinct sections, I think, and it felt right to just bookend it, starting with storage, 2 working spaces, and then finish it with storage. Just was a good way to segment it out there that way. The other reason I think is that even though my shop is small, I think workshop, and we've seen this with Logan as he's been setting up his shop over the course of this podcast, of like every part of your shop is worth considering. Like, you don't just throw tools in there and it's like, boom, now you have a shop. Like, you do that at first, but then after a while it's like, nope, this doesn't work. Or I would really like to beef up, the capability of this particular area, or I'm always tripping around this thing, and it's a journey. So it's not really a shop tour so much as a shop tour and memoir all at the same time. Which, like I said, we've seen with your shop, Logan, like you've set up there's some things in your workshop now that are where they've been right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like your table saw, your workbench for the most part. But other stuff has shifted around.
Everything's moved.
Yeah, simply because it's like, nope, actually this belongs over here.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
And
you don't know that till you live in it. Like, you don't know that till you live in it. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot for what they say with a house. You know, like you don't move into a house and then immediately go into fixer-up mode until you've figured it out for a little bit. Because you got to live in it, you know, like, I don't know, 15 years or so. Because then you know exactly what you need to do in order to sell it.
Yep.
Yes, I do have insulation in now all the way through, and it was amazing the difference that it made in the feel of the space. Just like it has that feel of just being buttoned up and closed in.
I always like getting to that point in a construction, like whether it's a house or a shed or whatever, where you get insulation in it. Like the sound is different. Like, not that it's quieter, it is quieter, but everything sounds different because it's all contained. And it, like you said, it's just buttoned up, it's tight, it's like, oh, this is what this is going to be like.
Yeah. I don't have the drywall up. We were going to do that last weekend, but, you know, daily life just kind of gets in your way on some stuff. So hopefully this weekend we'll start getting drywall. Part of it is the intimidation factor. My son's helping me. And the ceiling is going to require 15 sheets of drywall, which just is a lot of overheadedness.
Start building up those neck muscles.
Right. So yeah, I do have a quartz radiant heater in there and a small little space heater that my wife got me. And it was pretty cold earlier, late last week, maybe I was out there, and it was amazing having those on and having that space enclosed fully now that it was like, oh, these heaters are actually doing something. That the heat wasn't just instantly disappearing off into the void. So it was lovely. I've been out there quite a bit now, and yeah, just a delight. Finally, Dale Michaels Woodwork says, hey, what software are Dylan and John using to draw things up? SketchUp is really starting to irritate me, and I'm thinking of going to Fusion. Thoughts?
We use Inventor, which is probably way overkill for woodworkers. It's more of a engineering design software. And I've never used Fusion, but I feel like Chris has used Fusion, hasn't he, for his CNC stuff. But yeah, there's probably something in between, like Fusion, between SketchUp and Inventor or SolidWorks. So yeah, that'd be something to look into, I guess.
But yeah, we use Inventor, which is an Autodesk product. And I mean, that was a decision that was made years and years ago, and so we've just kind of stuck with it. But yeah, Logan, do you do Fusion for your 3D printing?
No, I should, but I don't. I am the equivalent of a guy that edge glues plywood in his shop, and I use SketchUp for my 3D prints. To be honest with you, like if I need to design something, I'm limited to what I'm able to do in SketchUp.
Oh,
and that is just because I have not taken the time to learn Fusion, to learn any of those modeling softwares. And quite frankly, a lot of them are expensive. And for me just to, dink around with it, I don't feel like I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. So my thought is if I'm going to 3D print it, I can probably build it out of wood. And if I can build it out of wood, I can build it in SketchUp. Is kind of the way I look at it. So that's kind of like there aren't many things that I've designed from the ground up. I did my outlet covers out here in SketchUp, and it worked great, like perfect. You know, I'm printing an outlet cover, but I know like I would love to get to a point where I have the time to go take a night class once a week on learning Fusion.
Sure,
I think it'd be sweet. Also, I think that would help scratch a little bit of the itch that I think will come with like wanting to, learn some CNC mill work stuff.
Okay.
Where, like, and some of that crosses over into the CNC world and stuff like that. So, like, there's definitely a curiosity there. It's not a curiosity that I can deal with right now, but currently, if I need it, I do it in SketchUp, then export it and then import it.
Yeah. I think Fusion has a free personal use version, right?
Yeah.
And at Woodworking in America this year, Ben over at Fine Woodworking did a presentation on Fusion, which was interesting because I know enough in SketchUp to realize my limitations, and I was just kind of curious to see what Ben would talk about with that one, and it was really interesting, even for somebody who doesn't do that very often. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And then other 3D modeling packages I'm just not familiar with.
Yeah.
I guess
I
wasn't aware that SketchUp supported 3D printing.
It doesn't. What it does, though, is you can export in file types that you can then pull into Bamboo Labs program. And then you slice it in there. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a 3D model, handing this off to Bamboo Labs, and saying, here, Bamboo Labs, take this 3D model and slice it. And it does that. The slicer runs it through and basically translates G-code for the 3D printer. And I think the same thing can kind of be done with like V-carve and stuff like that for CNCs, where you can just take a generic 3D model, whatever format it is, drop it in, and it will generate G-code and stuff like that you can then work with. The problem that I have ran into, I guess, with trying to learn some of these 3D programs, is that when you get into some of these free versions, like when you get into some of these open source 3D modeling programs, let's just call it open source programs in general. Those have to be 3D modeling. A lot of the times they're so powerful and there's so many bells and whistles in there because it's open source. So somebody's just made everything. That half the stuff you don't need, like you won't touch 3/4 of the stuff that's in there. So like there's a lot of noise when you're in those programs kind of messing around because there's just a lot of stuff you don't need. But I don't know. I feel like I am just now getting to the point with SketchUp where I'm actually using 95% of all the tools that are available in there.
Well, okay.
So I haven't started hitting limitations yet where it's like, I want to do this, but I know the program can't. I'm still at the point where I want to do this. I'm just too dumb to figure it out. So.
This episode of the ShopNotes Podcast is sponsored by Harvey Industries. Good enough is not good enough. See all of our new tools at harveywoodworking.com. Well, I mean, there's a certain skill set that within a broad range of woodworking, like you can go as deep down the rabbit hole as you want in order to be able to maximize whatever it is. And that's kind of been it with me is I just don't know that I have or want to devote that time to be able to do that sort of thing. Same thing with turning for me. Like I've turned a few things okay. And with carbide tools, but I just know that in order to get that much better, I have to put in that much more time, which takes away from something else. I mean, it just is what it is. It's not a slam against turning. It's not, I don't find it as fascinating in the same way that Logan does.
Yep. Sometimes you're just shooting for a B+. You don't want to put the work in for an A.
Well, and here's the thing that I think with like learning the 3D modeling and stuff like that, like you have to have an end goal. I think if you want to learn it just to learn it, great. But I think for most people, like there has to be an end goal, right? So like if I'm just Logan in his shop building stuff, I would never have a need to 3D model anything. Like
right.
I am a notepad full of notes type of guy, and that's how I'm going to build this thing.
Right.
Once I've done the SketchUp model, what the hell am I going to do with it? Like
the project's built already.
Yeah, like it's too late. Obviously for the magazine stuff, like this is completely different. But the like printing thing, the CNC thing, like I get those because that's the end goal, is to be able to, hit print and run this thing, whether it's on a CNC or a printer or a CNC vertical mill or whatever it is. So I guess, I don't know, like if you want to learn it, what's your goal?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Before we move on from comments and questions from last episode, I want to go back to one of them. John, there was the question about your little Rikon bandsaw. What
was the question? I didn't even hear.
How have you been in, you did that one video when you first got it. Mm-hmm. How's the long-term review? What would you
I love it. I mean, I'm not like, breaking down huge pieces of lumber or resawing huge pieces of lumber. So for what I do in my shop of just kind of tinkering around at home with it, it's been great. And it takes up hardly any space. I mean, you could almost like, I keep it on a cart and like, so it's on a stand and move it around or whatever, but you could almost take it and put it on a shelf. It's small enough and lightweight enough. And so for the things that I do, I love it. So it's been great. But cool. If I did more heavy duty bandsaw, it probably wouldn't be as well suited for that. But, it's been great for me.
Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. You can always send us a comment by email, woodsmith@woodsmith.com, for us to interact with, or a question to respond to. Most of them, frankly, we get are from the ShopNotes Podcast YouTube channel, where you can see all of this happening with a video component along with it. But however you want to do it, we'd love to hear from you for any questions, comments, and smart remarks that you have. All right, next segment is, Logan, the reason you weren't on the podcast last week is you were traveling the wilds of Virginia.
Yeah, sure was. It was a wild ride getting out there and getting home. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I was out with, I was on site with Shay Alexander, Albert Klein, and Jeff Lufkowitz, doing some shots in Shay's shop in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, a couple hours outside of D.C. Yeah, I was supposed to go out there on Sunday. Des Moines got, we got dumped on like a foot and a half of snow last weekend, and a plane slid off the runway like the night before I was supposed to leave, which I guess if that happens, and I'm not talking like, we don't have bluffs in the Des Moines area. Like, it's not like this plane slid off a cliff and was hanging there.
Yeah.
It was trying to make a turn, and it just went, like the anti-lock brakes kicked on, and it slid right into the mud. Mm-hmm. But because of that, the FAA has to come in inspect everything and give their blessing to have the plane pulled out of the mud. So it shut everything down to like, I don't know, noon or noon 30 on Sunday. So my flight just got canceled straight up. So I ended up jumping a flight out Monday morning, and we shoved what should have probably been 5 days worth of filming. Like when I booked my flights, I had a full 5 days of shooting with Shay, Albert, and Jeff. We condensed that down into 3 days. We shot Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I was trying to get home for a Christmas party on Friday. Then, I don't know, Detroit, Delta had issues with computers, so all flights were grounded for like 6 hours Friday morning in Detroit. I got rerouted through Minneapolis. Minneapolis flight was delayed by 5 hours. Like, absolutely ridiculous. So... yeah, it was cool though. Like we ended up shooting a little lamp with Albert, so a little dovetailed box with a veneered and marquetry front panel that was stabilized, spalted hackberry, and if it's sliced thin enough, light shines right through it. So it's this little maple leaf that's like a little nightlight. It's pretty sweet. Did that, did a high vice build with Albert that of course was covered in marquetry, for our boy Jared Green out at Blue Spruce. That's who that vice is going to. And then, we did some kind of general veneering techniques with Albert. We did some, like basket weave veneering. So cutting little squares and doing a basket weave checkerboard type thing, some radial veneering, stuff like that. And then Shay, we shot a little post and rung stool with a hickory bark woven seat. And the hickory bark is this super like cool material. And like, if you've ever looked at chairs, I'm sure you've seen hickory bark. There is a great hickory bark debacle over the last couple of years. Like there are like 3 sources for this hickory bark in the US, and supplies are super limited. It's super hard to get. Nobody's really put an effort into harvesting this stuff. It's super labor intensive. You have to get any of the smooth bark hickory trees during the slipping season, which is like May to July or something like that. And you're hand harvesting this bark off of these trees. And that little stool that we did was, I don't know, maybe 1.5 by 2 foot. So, you know, not huge, but it takes like 130 feet of hickory bark. Like it takes a ton. So it's a material that is hard to get a hold of, fairly expensive when you can get it, but everywhere is sold out, and like there's wait lists for this stuff. Long story short, Shay bought a hickory bark machine from Brian Boggs. So it's this machine that you put raw hickory bark into, and it slices it to width. It skives it, so it takes the bark, peels it into 2, and thicknesses each one. So you have an inner premium bark and an outer second bark. And then it coils it up. It's a super cool machine that Brian Boggs, rigged up in his shop. Super well thought out, but it hasn't been used in several years. So I think in May and June, Shay's going to be doing a hickory bark harvesting weekend at his place, where his loggers are bringing in semi-loads full of hickory. And then it's like, hey, come hang out, learn this process, take home a little bit of hickory bark. And basically he's hoping to do 20 or 30,000 feet of hickory bark this year. But he expects that that's going to sell out in 2 or 3 days. So, kind of a cool material. Looking forward to seeing what comes of that. Hopefully they can make the hickory bark harvesting, worthwhile.
I think John's looking up right now the price of uncut hickory bark.
Yeah, it's about $1.20 a linear foot on hickory bark.
Okay.
On the street.
Street
on
value.
the street, yeah, street value. Yeah, if you get into those basket weaving crowds, then who knows?
Yeah.
We also shot a part of that article was kind of a weaving, weaving with hickory bark. So we're going to do it as two different articles. We're going to do the weaving as a separate article from the stool, because I mean you could do paracord, you could do shaker tape, you could do a bunch of stuff for the seat. It doesn't really have to be hickory bark.
Yeah.
And then we did what Shay is referring to. We haven't decided on the name yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards studio stool, where it's it's a shop stool. It's a carved seat, so not Windsor chair, but along those lines, and draw knife and spoke shave shaped legs, rungs, stuff like that. So kind of a good little way to mess around with a draw knife, spoke shave, and a shave horse. And I like that stool because if anybody knows who the gentleman Brian Boggs is, Brian really made his name doing a lot of chairs and high-end furniture and high-end chairs. So Brian gets really nerdy when it comes to the minutia of stuff. So looking at, hey, here's the angle that your hips should be sitting at in a chair to help, your back. And here's how here's how you should design a chair for absolutely the best posture and stuff like that. So Shay grabbed a lot of Brian's kind of theory behind that and put it into the stool, which is kind of cool. And then Jeff Lufkowitz, Jeff just finished designing a shave horse. It's a shave horse that is loosely based on what Brian Boggs did with his shave horse, which it has a ratchet mechanism for the table. So it's very easy to raise and lower the table, get different heights on it and stuff like that. But Jeff has set this up to where this shave horse is very easy. It's all designed and built out of 2x material from the home center. So 2x6s, 2x8s, you could grab it with minimal tools and build it, and stuff like that. And really, what he was trying to accomplish with designing this shave horse was getting a shave horse that's not only easy to build, but it's ergonomic. Because Brian Boggs' shave horse, beautiful shave horse, great design. Brian's a big guy; he's 6'2", 6'3". So Jeff, who's 5'4", he's I can't sit on this thing. It's too big, So this has a lot of adjustments and stuff like that. So we were talking about kind of proper shave horse design, proper draw knife design, because there's a couple different styles of draw knives, depending on how the handles are in line with the blade, and kind of shave horse ergonomics. So riding the shave horse is going to be Jeff's article.
Well, and Brian Boggs' shave horse too was also really long. It was almost 6 feet long too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think if it fits Brian, because Brian's a big dude, but you short guy like us, it doesn't fit. I have Brian Boggs shave horse plans out here. I bought them. I was going to build them, but now that I see Jeff's design, it incorporates a lot of what I like about Brian's in a much smaller, I don't think that Jeff's new design is any more than maybe 60 inches. So 5 foot, maybe. And Jeff has thought it out very, very well. And what's, I think, kind of cool is that Jeff and Shay are pretty good friends. Live very close together. Shay, I think, would agree that he's learned a lot from Jeff. Jeff is an extremely talented graphic designer, had a very successful career in graphic design. So he's done a lot of drafting and designs. He has manuals to make Brian Boggs' 2 slat and 3 slat chairs. They're his side chairs. He's put together his shave horse manual to build the shave horse, and he's selling them on a pay what you can mentality, kind of like Curtis Buchanan does with some of his stuff.
Which I think Jeff
like,
did.
Hey,
Jeff did the drawings for Curtis's chairs too, right?
He did. Yes, he did. So it's like, so this shave horse, like, he wants people just to build it. He wants people to build it. But he's like, at the end of the day, I probably have a full year's worth of work in this thing. And it's 200 pages. Like, it's a lot. So he's like, pay what you can. My suggested retail price on this is $35, which I think is a freaking steal on what you're getting out of that. But he's like, if people can only afford to pay, $15 or $20 for it, I still want people to build it. So you can get it on his website. But what is cool, I think, is that because Shay and Jeff are such good friends, Shay and Alexander Brothers Lumberyard is selling kits for this shave horse. So you can get just the material kit where it's like, I don't know what the price is on it, but it's like you buy just the materials. They come basically roughed to size, but then you have to do all the cutting. Or you can buy the entire shave horse kit where it's like you open it up and you like the screws are there. You just screw and bolt it together and it's ready to go. So, which is kind of cool. And I want to say it was like $400, $450 for the shave horse kit ready to go. To me, I'm like, that's a great price for what it is. Yeah. And it's nice southern yellow pine. So.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I was shooting.
They have Shay have links for that up already for that sawhorse or the shave horse. I think so. Right?
I think he does. If he does,
I'll put a link to it in the show notes page for this episode. Then we can keep that updated and then keep an eye on it for next issue of Popwood.
Yep. So the pine kit with all parts pre-cut and the hardware is $475. Material kit with hardware pack. So this is non-cut. This is just yellow pine boards is $235. And then you can buy just the hardware pack, which has all the nuts, bolts, hanger bolts, stuff like that. Or the leather kit for just the jaws. So,
all right. Choose your own adventure.
Kind of, yeah. But
all right, are you done traveling for the year now?
Yeah, for business, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have one trip that is kind of penciled on the calendar for like February, I think, to actually with a gentleman in Chattanooga, right outside Chattanooga, Tennessee. That is I did not know this until this last week when I was with Shay and Jeff. He's a friend of Shay and Jeff's because I was picking Jeff's brain on his artwork that he does in his plans. Like, hey, how do you just from a professional standpoint, how do you do this? Because this is very similar to what we do with Woodsmith illustrations, but different. It's kind of a weird hybrid of CAD drawings plus what we do with Woodsmith. And he was kind of telling me about it. And he's like, I trained this guy, Matt. And I'm like, this Matt? And he's like, yeah. I was like, I'm supposed to be going up to his place to shoot photos in February, which was really cool. And it all makes sense because Matt's a graphic designer and stuff like that. So, yeah. But nope, done with business travel for the year. Thank God. I love it, but man, it gets exhausting. Sometimes I just want to be a shop hermit and just sit in my shop next to the fireplace.
Although, speaking of trips, we're going to put this out there for folk. You'll get, if you're on our email list, you will be getting something within the next couple of weeks here. But Logan and I will be doing a tour to Denmark and Sweden in September, October of 2026. So you want to put that on your list. things to ask Santa for this year.
Yeah, it'll be cool. The dates are getting finalized hopefully this week coming up. Yeah, it'll be an exciting one. So Phil and Mike did the London trip last year. We were trying to figure out where to do the ones for 2026. The initial thought was to do Japan, but we realized with the scale that trip will be, we need a little bit longer lead time to get everything set up. We have a company that we work with in the Netherlands that helps put together these European trips for us and our gardening cohorts. So we don't have that in Asia currently. So there's a little bit longer lead time. So we were looking at, okay, where can we go? That's not London. That also has really good woodworking for us to see. And it was brought up. We looked at two different routes, Denmark being the starting point, and then it's either you go south into like Amsterdam and Germany, or you go north into Sweden. We chose to go north. There are some very cool. There's a Viking ship museum, a tool museum. There's an axe manufacturer that we're gonna visit. Like, there's a lot of things, which makes me feel a little bit better that we're going in the fall on this trip, because my wife and I happen to be going to Sweden here in a couple weeks. I could not drag her to see any woodworking sites to save my life. So, having the chance to go back, within the year is pretty cool. And I'm excited. So come hang out with these two fools for 10 days or 8 days, whatever it is. So
8 days. It'll be really fun. Cool. I like the idea. You did a lot of the work on coming up with stuff for us to see, but there's museums that we're going to see. There's the Viking stuff. There's the Viking ship where they're building one, and you can actually make some chips on your own with this to contribute to it.
Yeah, you get to grab an ads and go to town.
Plus, there's the Danish modern design aesthetic. We're going to see a couple of. There's a furniture factory we're going to do a tour of, and then some of the carving, green wood working kind of stuff in Sweden. So it's a nice mix of a lot of fun stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. Plus, being able to see, that part of the world in the fall. It'll be a delight.
Yeah, Scandinavia in the fall. Come on.
Yeah.
Days will be getting a little shorter. So right now, I think we're leaning more towards early October for this trip. Is kind of what we're looking at. But brisk weather, sweaters, coffee, and a tour bus full of people going to see woodworking stuff. Come on.
Yeah. What's not to love?
There will be a few days, I think. I thought it was kind of funny because we put together this kind of itinerary of where we're going. I remember to get close to my mic because Ben was giving me a hard time last week about my audio. We got an email from our contacts at this Netherlands travel company, and they're like, "Hey, you guys really are you sure these are the places you guys want to go? Because there's a couple days where there's lots of driving." And we're like, "Bro, listen, we're from the Midwest. An 8-hour drive's right down the road. This ain't nothing. This is not Europe where an 8-hour drive puts you 6 countries next door. Yeah. So there will be a couple days where there will be, a good 2-hour, 3-hour bus ride as you're traveling into Sweden.
Between sites or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but no, I think it'll be cool. I will be bringing a large suitcase because if we are going to the Gransforth Brooks forges, I'm bringing home some axes. Not gonna lie. So.
Yeah. And that stuff you can't put in your carry-on, FYI.
Yeah. Phil can't go back to jail again.
If it's under 9 inches, I think you can.
If it's under 9 inches.
So for those of you who feel like you missed out on the England tour, we're actually going to run that one as well. That'll be in early September. John Binson from Fine Woodworking, the guru of all things oddball arts and crafts, will be heading up that one, which is a great fit for him. We're actually also going to be doing a third one, this one in the U.S. in New England, where we're going to be launching out from Connecticut and then seeing some places in Maine and New Hampshire. Like I said, all the details will be coming out in emails coming up, but I wanted you to kind of be the first people to know about this. Don't tell those guys over at Fine Woodworking and the Shop Talk Live podcast. They haven't heard anything about this.
And it's not their business anyways. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Not that we're trying to turn this into like an East Coast, Midwest sort of thing. So.
But it already is.
John, we're going to wrap it up with you. What are you working on right now?
Oh, I've kind of avoided my intrusive thoughts of starting any crazy Christmas projects after Thanksgiving. So that's been good. Trying to coast through the end of the year without getting anything too big. But we just got it's kind of too cold to get out in my shop. So I found recently we just got a new dishwasher last week. So then it was like, okay, we got the dishwasher. Now this kitchen door looks off a little bit. So then I'm fixing that, and that turns into, now I got to fix the drawer that was not working properly. So I found myself just kind of tinkering this time of year of house projects. So I kind of get into that. And
you know where that's leading. That's leading directly to a major project.
Right. Easing into it. So
yeah.
And there are lots of those that it's just kind of like, I'm going to put this off. I don't want to get into that yet. But
yeah.
So a lot of tinkering this time of year.
There you go. Stay tuned until next year when John starts a major project of doing built-ins for some part of his house. That's where this is going.
There you go.
I thought this was going into getting the house ready to sell.
Yeah. I don't think I plan on doing that for a while. I move every 15 to 20 years.
You say that.
So
yeah. Not time to migrate.
Yeah.
That's it for the Shop Notes podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Always appreciate any questions, comments, and smart remarks that you have. You can send those to us by email, woodsmith@woodsmith.com. Better yet, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications on the Shop Notes podcast YouTube channel. And if you could do us a solid, please rate and review the podcast at your local podcastery, where it will help spread the word and get us out to more woodworkers and increase the number of people that we can interact with in those comments. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye. When you're working on a project, you put in hours of effort, and the last thing you want is for the glue bond to fail. That's why you should keep a bottle of Gorilla Wood Glue on the bench. It's non-foaming, dries a natural color, and of course, it's Gorilla Strong. Built by you, backed by Gorilla.